Here's why I want to work with you, Mum. Every time you look in the mirror and you say, I need to work out more before I can eat the cake, and your child walks behind you, they see that. Every time we put on a piece of makeup to make ourselves appear different in the world, our children sees this. And they learn from a very young age. They become conditioned to see and believe that they need to alter their appearance in some way to show up in the world. This is not here to make you feel guilty or upset you in any way. I want to show you how, by you doing the work, you unlearning the diet rules, the appearance rules, you can change the path for your children. So when you relearn things in a way that's much more aligned to how we feel, how we operate, how we show up in the world, so that we can do the things that we really enjoy doing, that we can give the energy to the stuff that brings us true contentment and happiness, then you're doing that for your children. So negative self-talk, we know, can cause us stress. It can give us anxiety. It's just that self-doubt, those horrible feelings within ourselves. On the other hand, positive talk really encourages us to be more confident in ourselves, to be more effective in how we cope with things, to celebrate our achievements, and to really just get that feeling of wellness. So is your self-talk helpful for you? Is it lifting you up or is it pulling you down? And if it's pulling you down, will it ultimately pull other people around you down? Is it helpful or is it all helpful? So let's think about those times that we think, I don't look good in this, or we say again, I better work out tomorrow to make up for this. We're the gatekeepers of our children's health. And before, many moons ago, I might have said to you, you have to think about the nutrients that you put into them. But when I think about this now, and from what I've learned, we're the ones who can change the path from them. If they see us struggle, they learn to struggle. And part of the reason that some of us try and protect our children, I think, is because we don't want them to experience the negative self-talk that we've experienced. So the only way for that to happen for your child, for them not to experience that negative self-talk, is for you to stop and do the work to learn how to change that voice inside, so that you can speak more kindly to yourself, so that you can show yourself more compassion, and you can show up living your life really just for what it is, living life. Not about appearance, not about fancy ideals of how we look, not about fancy ideals even of how we behave, just for what's right for you, what's meaningful for you. So intuitive eating, what has that got to do with supporting your child, and why do I want to share with you the intuitive eating principles? Because the intuitive eating model is really supportive, and it guides you on eating according to, I suppose, your real values and your real feelings, and that honoring of your own health, and not societal demands or ideals, as I've said. So intuitive eating isn't just about eating to hunger and fullness and saying no to diet culture. It's about allowing all foods back into your diet. But let me be very real here. Intuitive eating is about you 100% changing. There's no escaping it. I remember one of the biggest fears that I had when I went on my own journey was that I would change. I would be a different person. And that fear of the change, of the unknown, kept me stuck for a long time. So there's no doubt about it. You will change. And you may not change in the way that you think you want to change, but you will change in a way that feels really good for you and for your body. And more interestingly, what I've found of late is that the more confident I become in talking about this way of eating and this way of being around food, the more nods I get at the table, the more people I get sharing with me their own journey and their own struggles with food. And I find that really reassuring, because as a community, when we all collectively realize together that we've had a struggle, it's easier to process it. So that's what I feel like the intuitive eating model really brings, is a sense of community. It's a sense of drawing us together as a group of people who've had similar experiences with our relationship with food. And if you can do that for yourself, if you can find that group of people that you can talk to, not go in and put yourself on a weighing scales every week and feel bad if you've gained weight or not lost weight, or feel great for a little moment when you've lost the weight and then you still think about all the stuff that you've had to give up all week, the hardship it took to lose that weight. Is that a community? Is that really the community that you want? Or do you want to find a community of people who are going to build you up, who are going to make you feel like the glorious human that you are? So intuitive eating is about honouring your health by learning to nourish and nurture yourself beyond just the food that you put in your mouth. You create your own version of health and well-being. That means that you don't have to stick to the rigid rules. That hardship that I mentioned, that doesn't happen as much. And you learn to speak to yourself with much more kindness and compassion as you begin to let go of all the rules. To me, intuitive eating really is about being real to yourself. It's about working on accepting your body, accepting yourself, and accepting the life that you are living. It doesn't mean that you can't change it for the better, but you're accepting it first and you're becoming aware of that acceptance. So as part of intuitive eating, we learn things like, emotional eating is normal. We also learn that choosing a salad today is completely normal and choosing a Snickers tomorrow is normal. Choosing a burger today and deciding to have vegetarian curry tomorrow is normal. And isn't that what we want for our children? So I encourage you, as their mum, as their gatekeeper to their health, to think about, would you invest in yourself enough so that it will be like the smile that we talk about rippling around the world, or the virtual hugs that we had during COVID, so that can ripple out to not only your children, but the other children that they are in circles with, because every one person can just really create that change, that movement, that wave of all of us flowing together to this lovely community of people who don't think about what they should and shouldn't eat anymore. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to teach your kids to eat broccoli because it's got vitamin B in it? Or do you want to teach your kids to self-regulate how they eat, to understand how to process their emotions, to be aware of themselves and that negative voice within, and to learn how to speak back to that voice with compassion and kindness? Are these the kinds of things that you're interested in learning for you and for your children? I heard a wonderful phrase some time back, and I want to share that with you today. Don't blame yourself for not knowing what you didn't learn before you got the chance to learn it. So many people, when you go on a journey of altering how you eat, there's a lot of blame and shame and guilt and fear in there, because we're feeling that I should have known this. And yet what feels so simple of eating towards hunger and fullness and remembering satisfaction in the middle is very tricky because of all the noise that has come in around us. But I want to say to you, it's never too late to stop. So if you can find in your heart a little way of saying, it's okay, I'm not blaming myself for not knowing this, I'm curious about I can change. It's a gift that you can give yourself, but it's also a gift that you can give to other people around you, especially your children. So to know that they have learned the strength and courage to face up to something that brings up those feelings of fear and shame and guilt, that will be so inspiring for your kids. There's no shame in having done this. There's no shame in having been caught up in diet rules. There's no guilt in overeating. They're feelings that we have because we've been conditioned and we've been told that we should have these feelings. And yet when we didn't know any better, how could we have done any different? So this concept of eating to hunger and fullness, my golly gosh, there is so much more to it. And I want to create a community of women who want to start their journey of defining their health according to what it means for them. That's you. I want to create it for you according to what it means for you, not what it means for me or not what it means for Mary down the road. I want a community of strong women who are willing to put in the work and just to see, to let go of the fear of the unknown and to see if there's any spark of curiosity about how I work and what I do, about this intuitive eating thing, about could I have a better way of being with my body? Could I be more neutral about how I feel about my body? Could I be more accepting of the fat that I have? Could I be more accepting of the thinness that I have? Could I not look at it in any way and think any feelings about it? My goal is to create a wonderful space for you so that you can get the guidance to do this work, the support, and to do it with other people, where together you will build the energy to change, to work on acceptance and neutrality around body, food, bringing in a bit of mindfulness, bringing in a lot of fun, and bringing in just genuinely heartfelt peace and tranquility around what you feel as you eat. So you're working towards just feeling more peaceful in every day, freeing up the thought, the space that takes up your mind about what you should and shouldn't eat. Free it up, let it go, and let's bring something else in. If you want to find out more about my program, then sign up at the bottom of this page.